The Phillies are going to the National League Championship again. Holy crap. So excited. Eagles, Jets, week 6. It's predictions and preview day here when the Flyers played last night. Who knew? Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live talking everything Philly sports right here in 30 seconds.
Fourth and goal.
And a very good, happy morning to everybody out there in the Delaware Valley. Everybody everywhere watching Trending in the AM. We're live. Facebook, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe. Do whatever it is. Trending in the AM where your opinions actually matter. And it's free to watch the show, but it's also free to hit all those buttons because we've got lots to talk about today. Not just Eagles. Yes, we will spend plenty of time talking our Eagles versus Jets Sunday matchup, but it is Victory Friday here. As I'm messing everything up, I'm hitting everything here because it's Victory Phillies Friday. You know what? Before we even get into the comments, before we do anything, I know it's Football Friday, and I know we're going to talk a lot of football, but the color scheme's got to change. We got to make it red. We got to paint the show red for our Philadelphia Phillies. Let's go, Nick. Ring that bell. Eagles plus Flyers equal undefeated Philly sports teams. Yes, I did mention the Flyers. You know what, Nick? I'll give you credit. Or I'll tell you. I actually turned at 7 o'clock on the first period of the Flyers game. I gave them from 7 to 8 o'clock. It was good hockey that was being played there. You know, for a team with no expectations. That was it. Then I turned it off, and we're done because we're focused on the Eagles and the Phillies, and most importantly, the Phillies red October. Good morning, Adam. How you doing today? I don't know about you. I'm exhausted, guys. No show yesterday. Had a last second massive pizza order come in. Had to make 200 pizzas by 10 a.m. yesterday, so I had to do that. So I was up at 5 a.m. yesterday, then stayed up till almost midnight last night, and up again this morning for this. I'm running on fumes, but you know what? The energy from the Philadelphia Phillies, the energy from that team and that locker room and that party. They're not worried about any cameras and the sanctity of their locker room like the Braves. They are having a damn good time. And if they can have a good time, so can we right here in the morning. That game the other day was fire. Harper got rid of it. The other day was fun, fun. Game 3. We didn't get to talk about game 3 because we didn't do a show yesterday. But damn, last night's game, intense game. Philadelphia Phillies now knock out the Braves with a top win team 2 years in a row. All 3 times the Phillies have ever played the Braves in the playoffs, they've knocked them out of the playoffs. Atlanta hates us. And they just do. And they got a bunch of punks on their team, and it couldn't have happened to a better team not getting knocked out like that. Ice water of victory runs through. Look. Let me tell you something. The ice water runs through the veins of the Phillies and the Eagles, man. The Sixers should be taking notes about the Phillies and the Eagles and how to do things right. We are in such a special age of Philly sports right now, having someone like Jalen Hurts and Bryce Harper playing in our city at the same time. 2 gentlemen, 2 young gentlemen. Harper's 30, but he's still a young gentleman. That just get this city and how to relate to this city and what makes this city tick. Bryce Harper just gets it. Jalen Hurts, we've talked countless times about Jalen Hurts' work ethic, but we haven't spent enough time talking about Bryce Harper and how much he just absolutely gets this city. I mean, I said it on Twitter yesterday or maybe the day before. I mean, Bryce Harper's already, I know he hasn't won a World Series here, but if I had to put together a Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia athletes in my lifetime, we're going to go back to say I'm born in 1980. I went to my first Phillies game in 1986. You know, there's in my lifetime, I would say the last 35 years, Bryce Harper's on my Mount Rushmore just because of the way he plays and the way he represents us and the way he acts in big moments and the clutch gene that he has. Bryce Harper is the man. Let's Big Nick. Yeah, Nick Castle. Did you hear his interview after the game? He was interviewed and he was told he's the first player in baseball history. Baseball's been around a long time. First person in baseball history to hit multiple home runs in back-to-back playoff games. And he was told that, and his answer was, "Is there a question there?" And the guy's like, "No, I thought you'd like to know." He's like, "Yeah, but we still got 8 more wins to get." That's right. The Phillies need 8 more wins. Acuna is an amazing player, but he came up so small in the playoffs again. You got to add the word again, Nick, at the end of that. Acuna and all those Braves guys. I mean, losing the way they have now, multiple years in a row. Nobody would have hated the Phillies if they lost this series. The Braves on paper are the more talented team. The Braves are the best team in baseball for 2 years in a row. Just can't get out of the NLDS because the Phillies are in the way. The football game was boring. Yeah, I couldn't. I guarantee you, I didn't watch any of the game last. If I haven't watched any Thursday night football this year, I'm definitely not watching it when the Phillies are in the playoffs, man, chatter. But I did see the box score, and yeah, look, the Broncos are trash, plain and simple trash. Chiefs don't look like no special team either right now. They're not playing great football. Phil, the Phillies and the Eagles going back to the big game, but going all the way. Dude, David, could you imagine? Phillies and Eagles losing their respective championships, the Super Bowl and the World Series last year, and then followed up this year, both getting back and winning. Oh my God. The stories that could be written, the movies that could be made about Philly sports, Philly grit, as you say there, Davey, spot on. Because that's what it is. There's a special something in the water in Philly. Problem is, it just hasn't matriculated over to the Wells Fargo Center and those Philadelphia 76ers. Although I'm ready to buy back into the Sixers. It's almost time to start the season, so I'm almost ready. Almost ready. Strider couldn't stand the crowd noise. I said it yesterday, Adam. I would have loved in the first inning if the crowd would have gone dead silent and just not made a peep, just to confuse the hell out of Strider. He says he doesn't like the noise, so let's make no noise and just have it like pin drop and silent. And then like after the second pitch, just like burst into extra energy. I thought that would have been really fun. I guess it didn't catch on. I'm not Jack Fritz. I can't say something on social media and have 45,000 people do it. Shout out to Adam. Yes, Adam is my man. Um, Look, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm running on adrenaline and caffeine right now. But it's something special in the water in Citizen Bank Park. Something special about this Phillies team. Monday we get the Diamondbacks come to town. Luckily, because 2 wildcard teams making the NLCS, we get the home field advantage. Which I guarantee you, the Diamondbacks were not rooting for the Phillies last night. The Diamondbacks don't want to come to Philadelphia. No team wants to come to Philadelphia to play a playoff baseball game. That crowd last night, the noise, the cheers, the chants, everything that goes into it. That's what makes and we get such a bad reputation here in Philadelphia for our fans and the way we act. Not one thing poorly done. Not one thing poor taste. They just rocked it the entire night. And look, whoever's traveling to the Eagles game, let's continue to show out. I guarantee there'll be a lot of Eagles fans at the what's it called these days? The Jets Stadium. I don't know if it's got a sponsored name or not. Rutherford. Um, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Eagles fans there. Continue to show. The last year or so, Philly fans have shown so much respect and grit and greatness. Yet the image is still not changed. The perception's still not changed on us. Um, any funny tweet hate Phil to share? And I don't got anything funny to share. Not at all. If the Giants get Caleb Williams, are we screwed? Brother could be Mahomes 2.0. Um, that's a off-topic question, but hey, train the AM where your opinions and questions matter. I don't know. Um, I don't know if the Giants really have a shot at getting him. They're not going to fall low enough in the draft to be able to draft somebody like him. That would be my thing. And I haven't watched him play, Davey, because I don't watch a lot of college football. So I don't know. I just know everybody's hyping up Caleb Williams to be the real deal. But there's going to be a lot of other teams ahead of the Giants in the end when it comes to the draft order, in my opinion. Davey is really good, but where K1? Hey, look, everybody, it was a late night. It was a late night. I even set my alarm 50. I gave myself 15 extra minutes. What's up, Eric? How we doing this morning? We are trying to survive. Not after the D line get to him. Yeah, exactly. Um, I heard the TBS channel was lowering the sound on TV so it didn't sound as loud. I would not be surprised, Adam, if they did that. That is possible. Piping in crowd noise and muting crowd noise happens all the time in wrestling. And when a wrestling product's presented on TV, it's done all the time. I would not be surprised if TBS did it at all. Players always rave about our fans. I don't an NFL player that doesn't want to be an Eagle. Hell, Fletcher Cox and his even though he missed last week's game was in the locker room with the Phillies celebrating, hugging and partying with Nick Castellanos last night. Like Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey were sitting amongst the fans. They didn't have some super private luxury box just to themselves. They were out there partying with the people. When Philadelphia baseball is on fire, I hate to say it, we are an Eagles football city, but we are a baseball city. This city is so passionate about baseball, especially when it's good. It's insane, especially defensive players. Absolutely, absolutely agree with you guys on that one. They shouldn't put baseball. Okay, real TV. Look, baseball's real. Yes, Jalen Carter injured on the report. That is something that we definitely got to dive into for this Eagles game. Kind of popped up out of nowhere. There's not a lot of information out there on it or what happened. Mister, what's up, my man? Used to work at Cisco Warehouse on Packer Avenue. Oh, wow. You can hear the fans rocking the stadiums for blocks away. My man Dave on Twitter, he's a reporter, writer for Union and Penn State. He posted a video from the parking lot of Live, the casino, and you can hear the fans singing the song "Dancing on My Own" from the stadium, word for word, not like the music. You could hear the words from the fans coming out. That's how loud they were. Um, Regular TV like ABC. The World Series, once we get to that, will be on regular TV. It'll be on Fox because they do get the Fox. TBS gets the first couple rounds, and Fox gets the World Series, which is good. I won't. Well, I could stop hacking somebody's Max account to get the baseball. We don't need Jalen Carter for this game. Now it's time to rest him, Davis. All right, let's dive. Let's switch gears back into the Eagles. That's what we normally do here on Friday. We preview and predict. We'll keep hyping up this Phillies. We'll keep talking about ringing the bell and the playoffs all show long. And if you got any thoughts or opinions on it, just drop them. But this Jalen Carter news is pretty big, and to understand how big it is, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. To figure out how big of a deal it is, we got to understand what this Jets team is and what they're going to try to do or what they're capable of doing to win this game. Which, spoiler alert, I'm picking the Eagles to win this game. It's no surprise, Jalen Carter or no Jalen Carter. But what are the Jets? The Jets are a team that built their team around Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers obviously went down week 1, play 4. We all know the story. Zach Wilson is a bust of a first-round quarterback, but he can do okay at times. Okay, they don't run the ball well. Breece Hall is a good running back, but he hasn't gotten going. Dalvin Cook seems to be washed. They got Garrett Wilson, a stud wide receiver who has a hell of a lot of targets, but not a lot of catches. And you got Zach Wilson throwing the football, who's not an NFL quarterback. Excuse me. Trying to hold the sneeze in. Should just let it out. Jerry Jeudy, 14 yards. Supposedly something went down between Jerry Jeudy and Steve Smith before the game yesterday. We'll get into that later. I think we'll be okay without Carter, but now Carter hasn't been ruled out yet. Okay, he has not been ruled out. This popped up out of nowhere. Same thing with Darius Slay 2 days ago, popping up on the injury report out of nowhere. You got two guys in Jalen Carter and Darius Slay that are both, you know, not practicing this week, and it kind of creeped up out of nowhere. So anyway, back to the Jets. The Jets are gonna succeed because of their defense. They've got an elite defense, great linebackers. Obviously, Sauce Gardner, one of the best cornerbacks in football. You got a great defense. They've only given up, I think they're averaging like 20 and a half, 21 and a half points a game that they've given up. So they don't give up many. They've held the Bills in check. They've held a lot of teams in check offensively. So it's the offense of the Jets where we win the game by shutting them down. And if Jalen Carter isn't playing, that's a big loss. Because here's some stats for you guys. Zach Wilson, the last 2 games, has completed 70% of his passes. Okay. But over the whole season, he has 29% completion percentage when he's under pressure. That is 30th in the NFL out of quarterbacks that have started games. He is the 30th ranked quarterback when he's under pressure completing passes. What does Jalen Carter do? He leads the league pretty much in pressures on quarterbacks from the defensive line. The Eagles do have a 54% pass rush win rate, which is 6th in the NFL. So we do that because of Jalen Carter. Hassan Reddick sacks, Josh Sweat sacks come from Jalen Carter getting pressure up the middle. So how do you win this game? You win this game by continuing to shut down Zach Wilson and the passing attack. Because if you get pressure, we've talked about it, I feel like, for like 4 weeks in a row about offensive lines that don't protect their quarterback and getting in a quarterback's face as how important it is. And this week, it's even more important than ever before. 29% completion percentage for Zach Wilson when you get pressure on him. That is awful. I might be able to complete 29% of my passes. I might be able to. That's how bad that is. So it is Jalen Carter. Yeah, some people say, we could deal without him or with or without him. Jalen Carter, we can't deal without. You need Jalen Carter in there to continue to get pressure. Marshawn, what's up? I'm not the guy you're talking. You're taking home. Um, true. It could be just soreness. It could be. I'm not sure. Phil underestimating the Jets. I'm not. I know this Jets defense is really strong. It's the offense stinks. I honestly thought Steve Smith was going to say yeah. I thought so too. Yeah, I really did. I don't know what happened. Supposedly, I guess Steve Smith said something on his podcast about Jerry Jeudy being a pretty average guy. Um, Jerry Jeudy shouted something in the background while Smith was live on TV. Can't say the words on the air. Would never say the words on the air. But yeah, there's definitely something going on there. And Celebrity Deathmatch 3.0. That's what we're getting from that. You think the 70+ snap took a lot out of him? It could have. It could be. Could be just he's sore and tired. The elite players do get some practices off throughout the season. Maybe Jalen Carter just needed that. Maybe he's banged up. I'm not sure. But greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Adam. Much appreciated there. Can't thank you enough. Russell Wilson completed 13 of 22 passes for 95 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. That's a hell of a stat line. Russell Wilson is cooked. Russell Wilson is cooked. Let me just repeat that one more time. Russell Wilson is cooked. I was looking what today's date is, and I forgot it's the 13th. How could I forget? Shout out to my brother, Charlie, on his 40th birthday today. Little brother turns 40 today. So I doubt he's watching. He's normally working at this time. But if he's watching, happy birthday to Chachi. Can't believe you're 40. It makes me feel so old. Eric, it was 70% of the snaps, but 39. Yeah, I knew what he was getting at there. But still, it was a high percentage of snaps he played. And I'm assuming Fletcher Cox is going to be back because Fletcher Cox, was partying with the Phillies in the locker room. So, maybe we could bring the snap count down and protect Jalen Carter a little bit. Morning, Steven. How you doing? Can't stay for long, but I think Swift has a huge game. Defense can't be soft. Killer mentality. You know what? Maybe Swift has a big game. I don't know, Steven, but we've got to prepare ourselves for this great Jets defense and the fact that they are very, very, very capable of shutting our offense down. Sauce Gardner is going to lock down A.J. Brown. If anything, pass-wise, it's going to be Devontae Smith that has the big game because you're going to have Sauce Gardner on A.J. Brown probably the whole entire game. London games stink. Yeah. I love the London games because I love waking up, having a cup of coffee, and watching a football game. Adam is the MVP today. Adam's always one of my MVPs. Not only does he support trending in the AM and the beard, but he also supports Fox's Pizza Den, my pizza shop. Check out my website and phone number. You can call, stop in. It's all on the bottom of the screen link. He is the man. I greatly appreciate him. Spencer Strider was throwing 99 in late innings. Where's all that gas coming from? I don't know. But it wasn't enough, Marshawn. It wasn't enough because the Phillies are back in the NLCS, baby. Even though this is an Eagles football Friday, we're all red on the screen. I'm seeing red in my eyes. Maybe it's a little the bloodshotness in my eyes, but it's still seeing red. Big power chat payout. Hey, every super chat is appreciated, man. Chatter from everybody, whether it's 50 cents or $500, whatever it is, it's greatly, greatly appreciated. We are at 12 likes so far on YouTube, 3 on Facebook. Keep pounding that like button. Keep sharing it out. Let's get this chat going. Thanks for cleaning that up, Davey. Yeah, I wasn't going to call you out. I think you kind of had an idea. Um, Nathaniel Hackett playing and stuff. Nathaniel Hackett sucks. Yeah. Does pineapple belong on pizza? No, it sucks. But I will say this: I have no problem putting it on pizza if you're paying for it. We sell a lot of Hawaiian pizzas, so I have no problem doing that. All right, back to this Eagles game here. I always write down, multiple scores and multiple predictions that are potential for a game before we do this show. And throughout the week, I'm always thinking about where my prediction will go. And obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles are 7-point favorites, which should be a problem. It's the over/under that really tells the story that they're predicting for the Eagles. You know, the Eagles have an electric offense. Obviously, we don't have to go into the details. We know AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts. Obviously, the running attack, the offensive line. The over/under is only set at 41 points for the Eagles game right now. 41. So that tells me it's going to be a low-scoring defensive game. And all these different predictions I wrote down, you know, I only got one with more than 4 touchdowns scored for the Eagles. 4 or more touchdowns. This Eagles team is going to struggle to move the ball a lot against this Jets defense. So it's getting pressure. And this Jalen Carter injury that kind of popped up out of nowhere. And we're all talking about Jalen Carter. What about Darius Slay being down as well? So you're going to lose your best pass rusher or best guy getting pressure on the quarterback on a quarterback that struggles when he's under pressure. You've got an elite wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. Your best cover corner in Darius Slay might also be out. If both Slay and Carter are out, Zach Wilson is going to have time to throw the ball, and he's going to have a wide receiver in Garrett Wilson that loves the ball thrown his way. It concerns me. Now, I don't think it concerns me enough to say the Eagles are going to lose this game because it probably isn't. Adam jumping already in with the 27-17 prediction. Yeah, I can see that. 17 is a lot of points for the Jets offense against our defense. Now, I can see that if both Carter and Slay are out, I think this is a very fair score. But if Carter and Slay play, I find it very hard to believe that the Jets will score 2 touchdowns. Very hard. There isn't enough teams eliminated. There is good watching interest. Trey Turner came through yesterday, even after that error. Trey Turner is Mr. Captain America. He comes up big in the big moments, man. He loves it when the cameras are on him. Should call out Peyton, I guess. 07. 07. I know what you're talking about, but I forget now. I kind of lost track of what's going on there in the chat. I fell behind, and I forget what's going on. How good is the Cardinals a baseball team? Should we beat them, or is this a toss-up? Well, we're not playing the Cardinals, Eric. We're playing the Diamondbacks, just so you know, from Arizona. The Diamondbacks are a wild card team. The Diamondbacks are scared of coming to Philly. There's no scenario in my mind where the Diamondbacks have a chance in this series. They got some good players for sure. But this will be the first time that the Phillies are the favorite and the better team on paper. So we'll see how they play with all the, everything on their side. So they're not the underdog this time. So we'll see how that works out for them. Northern New Jersey has awesome pizza. I used to go to Pizza Shop with such a great selection. Yeah, it's that New York Wooder. The New York Wooder makes great pizza dough. We need to Slay to rest. We got Dolphins coming up. All right, Eric, we need Slay to rest. We've already seen Josh Joby stink at cornerback filling in. We've already seen Goodrich and Rick struggle. So you got James Bradbury, and you've got Braden Robbie, in the slot. Who's starting on the outside if Slay rests? We still have a lack of depth there. We haven't seen enough from Joby Ricks or Goodrich um, or even Kellen Ringo. We haven't even seen Kellen Ringo on the field in a while. Who's going to fill in that slot or in that spot? And it concerns me, especially if Jalen Carter's not playing. He was supposed to hear that. What? I'm sorry. I got to catch up on comments. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, of course. I'm lost in the comments. Dolphins. Yeah, I'm worried about the Dolphins game, but I'm focused on this game because this game's now. Bucks like throwing the ball to Mike Evans too. It's true. It's true. It's fair. '07 salute. Joel was doing research. Joel was doing research on what it's like to be in a crowd like the Phillies crowd during the playoff run. He needs to be. Fletcher Cox is down in the locker room hanging and getting that vibe. Joel Embiid needs to know what that vibe is like, what the Phillies vibe is like, what a team is like, and how a team plays together. That's what Joel Embiid needs to do. Forgive me, my current baseball knowledge is trash. It's okay. Um, it's okay. I got you. I got you, man. It's all good. The Cardinals were a great baseball team. They're never out of the playoffs. You could just randomly not watch baseball and assume the Cardinals make the playoffs most years. Damn. Uh, Arcia said he wasn't supposed to hear that. That being attaboy. I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm caught up now. I understand what you're saying. Look, I think there's something to be discussed with this whole Arcia thing and the sanctity of a sports. We won't just say baseball. We'll say sports locker room. Whether we're talking baseball, football, basketball, and I think Arcia really, really kicked himself in the ass for saying what he said. That calling out the reporters for reporting something he said while cameras and recorders were recording everything that was being said. It's not like somebody snuck in a recorder when the locker room was closed. So for those that don't know, they're watching this. Arcia said, we trash after game 2 of the Phillies Braves series. Trash talked Harper in the locker room. A reporter heard it and reported it. That maybe motivated Bryce Harper a little bit more and the Phillies team a little bit more. Yes, the fans were chatting attaboy at him last night. But the reporter that reported it is getting trashed all over social media, all over by baseball players of the Braves and non-Phillies, because he's out there reporting what was being recorded. And if he did not report it, someone else would have, because it was during the live open part of the locker room. There's always parts of the locker room that are off limits to media, even during the open parts. You want to trash talk? Don't do it when there's cameras all over and in your face. And don't call out the reporters for that. That is not the reporter's fault. And I don't stand up for big media people often, but I'm against Arcia calling out, what's going on. You don't hear the Phillies complaining. You see Garrett Stubbs and Brandon Marsh partying like they're 22. Some of them are pretty close to 22 on the Phillies, but you get what I'm saying. The Phillies, saying whatever they're saying in that locker room with all the cameras rolling while they're partying, they're not worried. I'm sure they have other private meetings and private words when the cameras are gone. But the fact that so many people are crushing the media for reporting on what's said when the cameras are there rolling, it's ridiculous. And it's trying to take away from what was a great moment in Phillies, baseball by winning that series. Nick post-game interview was golden. Yeah, I mean, basically him just saying 8 more wins. It's all that matters. The records don't matter. 8 more wins. That's all that matters for this Phillies team. 8 more wins, and we get a party down Broad Street. First baseball game I attended was Cubs versus Tigers. It was actually fun. I was probably the only Philly guy in the building. My first baseball game, 1986, Phillies versus Mets. Family friends, the Paganos box seat at the vet, down along the first base side. Got a little wristwatch that game. Had it for a long time. I don't know where it is now. I lost it eventually, but I still remember that. And yeah, gee, gonna miss you. Did reporter get eyed on product? That's good value. Look, the reporter did their job. They were trolling him last night too, and you could see him getting pissed. Acuna had to calm him down. Yeah, he was shouting at the guy at the crowd. Yeah, he was definitely rattled last night from that. He literally couldn't be bothered to write it in an article. He just tweeted it. Look, how he reported it doesn't matter. It's the fact that Ari is upset about something that he said while the reporters were there. That's all it is. Preach. I'm not preaching. I'm just giving my feelings. Why is it that baseball there is way too much bottle popping into the spots? Dude, I feel bad for the Phillies that they got a party with Budweiser. Man, could there be a worse beer to celebrate and spray all over the place and drink and chug than Budweiser? As I like to call it, Mudweiser. I know it's a sponsor thing, but man, disgusting beer. But it's an interesting question, Marshawn. Is there too much celebrating in baseball? The goal is win the World Series. The goal is to win the pennant and get to the World Series and then win the World Series. I understand celebrating. I think everybody understands celebrating when you clinch your playoff spot. Celebrating after winning a best of 3 wild card round or a best of 5 NLDS. You know, there's people that don't like it. And I get it, and I understand why they don't get like it because it's not the NLDS wasn't the ultimate goal. The World Series is. But I'm not going to complain about the celebrating because I kind of feel like what you saw in the Phillies locker room last night, what you saw in the Phillies locker room after the NLDS and or after the wild card, it really brings the team together. The celebrating, the partying. If they don't celebrate and party like that, then they go off into their cliques. They go home. They do this or that. There's a special camaraderie that happens with this partying that the Phillies do, and a lot of baseball teams are doing. It brings the team closer together, in my opinion. It really does, and I think it's okay. I know some don't like it, and I probably understand most of their reasonings why they don't get it or they don't like it. And I'm not saying I like it or don't like it. I'm indifferent on it. But what I will say is I think it brings the team closer together. Making sure waiting for that moment every time they celebrate that JT Realmuto pops a bottle of champagne on Rob Thompson. Who let me tell you, we'll talk a little baseball again. I was scared out of my mind when the 7th inning we had already blown through Dominguez, Alvarado, and Kimbrel, and we're going into the 8th inning. Was Soda? If you would have told me before the series that Matt Strom was going to be the guy that got the save in the clinching game, I would have called you nuts. I refuse to question anything Rob Thompson does anymore because he does so many confusing things and it works out every single time. But the brotherhood of this Phillies team starts in that locker room and really gets it brought closer together with the party, with the I shouldn't say party, in the celebration. Waiting for Rob Thompson to say something and then spraying him with champagne by JT Realmuto every single time for 2 years now that they party. It's something special. Having that song play, Dancing on My Own, over and over again in the locker room. It's something special that brings them together. You know, Garrett Stubbs in his overalls with bottles of beer everywhere brings them closer together. And I think that is why I'm okay with it because it seems excessive, but it's kind of sort of a team building experience. If they're going to celebrate and drink, I'd rather them do it at home where I could see it than at the streets. Well, no, they do it in the locker room. I have questions too, but Philly Rob did everything right. Look, if you would have told me that the way the bullpen was managed last night, Freddie Defoe, um, that we were going to win that game, I was questioning it. I was tweeting out my questions about it. But you know what? Why question a guy that never does anything wrong? Bases loaded, 2 outs, and Acuna hit it. I thought it was going to. I was going. Yeah, I was right there with you. That catch from Rojas for what's he like 21 years old? Um, balls of steel from that man, and he made some errors in the field of the playoffs so far. So man, balls of steel. 8 more, Topper. 8 more. That's right. 8 more wins, and we get a party down Broad Street. Kyle, are you coming to Philly for the party? If we win the World Series, I hope you're coming up. I haven't drunk alcohol in several years. Lost the taste for it, but I understand the Phillies have stadium concessions. Yeah, no, Mister, the Budweiser is 110%. Budweiser is like the biggest sponsor of all of baseball. They're one of the top sponsors. So, of course, it's going to be in the locker room. There's without a shadow of a doubt. It's just a crappy ass beer, is all I'm saying. Um, so many Taylor Swift sightings last night. Yeah, Yeah, it is what it is, but it's good for the sport. Booze ruins sleeps. It does, and I'm feeling it today. Cause of death, Craig Kimbrell. Man, Craig Kimbrell is washed, man. He is, man. He's literally Mitchy Poo. For the older people, if you remember 93, Mitch Williams, by this point in the playoffs, his arm was being held together by duct tape and glue. And that's what Kimbrell. I wouldn't be surprised if Kimbrell's arm literally falls off his body at some point in this playoff run. But it is what it is. We're gonna keep using them till we can't. Yeah. Um, Budweiser's awful. It's Philly. Get some yards on that ice. Some yards. Yeah, why not Yingling? Like you would think that the ultimate celebration for in a Philadelphia sports locker room would be what there would be some Yingling. I was drinking some Yingling Oktoberfest last night during the game. You would think that would be it, but it's baseball, not Philadelphia, and baseball and Budweiser are linked together. It's just a really. I've probably only had like 4 Budweisers in my entire life because it is so disgusting. Bud Lights. At some point in my life, I had some Bud Lights, but not anymore. Whatever. Not going to get that direction here. Anyway, guys, we got lots happening here. We're watching trending. You're watching trending in the AM. I'm watching you guys watch trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're up to 14 likes on YouTube. 4 on Facebook. Keep pounding that like. We are talking Phillies. We are talking Eagles as well, but we are seeing red in our eyes. Some because it's bloodshot, some because we are in red October and the Phillies are in the NLCS. So let's get back to the Eagles for a few minutes. Let's transition back a little bit and talk a little bit more about this Eagles Jets game and about how this Jets team, they're 2-3 and it's been defense. They beat, Mad Chatter's Buffalo Bills in week 1. Even with the loss to Aaron Rodgers, kept the great Bills offense to 16 points. They did give up 30 to the Cowboys. Kept the bad Patriots. They lost to the Patriots. They only gave up 15 there. They lost to the Chiefs. They held the Chiefs to 23 points. And then they beat the Broncos, giving up 21 to a bad Broncos team. This Jets defense, if you think about it, you know, do they worry you that they're going to slow this team? Or are you worried about Sauce Gardner slowing down? AJ Brown, CJ Mosley shutting. Someone said earlier in the show that DeAndre Swift, big game. But they got Mosley and Williams at linebacker, 2 solid guys there. They got Quinn and Williams still. They have a former first round pick with last year, 2 years ago, Jermaine Johnson. They got some guys. They got a couple guys with 2 sacks. They haven't actually gotten as many sacks as you would think. But do the defense of the Jets worry you? And I'm going to be honest. I haven't given my prediction yet here for the game, but I got 4 scores written down here, and 2 of my score predictions have the Eagles only scoring 24 points because of this Jets defense. Now, they're both in Eagles wins. Those scores that I got written down. They're both covering the spread of 7 points written down. But does the Jets defense worry you at all? Do you think that we can run the ball against this Jets front? Do you think that DeAndre Swift can effectively, move the football and run the clock out? Look, if you look at the Eagles injury report, a majority of the injuries that we have to deal with right now are on the defense. We've talked Carter and Slay being injured a bunch, but Justin Evans is still out. Nakobe Dean, he's starting to practice. Does he come back? We'll get into that in a little bit, what they do there with Nakobe Dean. Justin Evans, Sidney Brown still limited in practice. Fletcher Cox limited in practice. There are a majority of the injured list is all centered around the Eagles defense. And if you can't get pressure on Zach Wilson, he's shown that he's a good enough thrower of a football when there's time that he can complete a pass. So do we worry about the Jets defense enough to slow our offense down? Because if I was writing a game plan, I would agree with whoever said DeAndre Swift earlier in the show has a big game. I'd be force feeding the ball to DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell, trying to control the clock even more than we've already done. Keep Zach Wilson off the field, which in turn keeps our defense that's completely banged up off the field. Because that's what I want. I only want there to be 55 defensive snaps, 50 defensive snaps for the Eagles. I don't need a game where the Jets run 75, 80 offensive plays and putting our defense at risk injury-wise, but also getting exposed, right now. Like people have said, we've got the Dolphins next week, and I don't want to look ahead. And I hope the Eagles aren't looking ahead to the Dolphins next week. But what we need is the offense to control the clock, to run the ball to keep things slow. But can they do it against this Jets defense? That is the question. And the question is, I see Robert Saleh be like what? Robert Saleh is a really solid young head coach. I think the way he is managing this Jets team with the whole Aaron Rodgers, will he play or will he not play this year for the Jets? And then him going down in the first quarter, the first drive of the first game. I got to give Robert Saleh credit. The fact that they're 2-3, period, with Zach Wilson at the helm. The fact that he keeps backing Zach Wilson when everybody in the world knows that Zach Wilson isn't a quarterback. You got to give Robert Saleh credit for the culture he's building there in New York, for the way he's managing that team through all the adversity that they're facing this year. Robert Saleh, go back way when we were searching for a head coach, and Robert Saleh was my top two. And Brian Dabble was my top choice. Was Saleh number 2 on my list? I'm trying to remember. Robert Saleh was one of my favorite coaching candidates in that cycle. I know the Eagles weren't going to hire him because he was a defensive-minded guy, and the Eagles focus on offensive-minded coaches. Most of the NFL does. But I liked Robert Saleh's potential as a head coach. And I think that his what he's doing is getting underlooked a little bit. What do you think about the comment that he said they need to give Jalen Hurts 11 kisses? Yeah. Again, anybody that wishes injury on any player in the NFL or whatever, that's a problem. But I get what he was doing. I don't think he really wanted Jalen Hurts hurt. I think he just wants to be a little forceful with him. I think he was just trying to fire up his crew. I don't think we would mind if Nick Sirianni said something like that, we'd be applauding it. But him saying it against us is kind of the problem, if that makes sense. And Mark, we've spent a lot of time talking Phillies already. We have, and we are talking Phillies. Whatever, you're jumping in late. We're 42 minutes into a 90-minute show, and I would say we probably spent about 30 minutes on the Phillies of 42 minutes. I go where the conversation goes, Mark. But if you want to talk Phillies, you tell me what you think, and I will put it back up there. I'm about to move Dolphins to 1 over the Chiefs. Stop. Eagles are best Dolphins. I don't know. Eagles are undefeated against New York Jets in their history. Jets have no shot to even come close. A blowout, Mark, but a blowout in a very low-scoring affair. I've got some blowout scores here, but I don't see the Eagles putting up 30-plus points against the Jets. Their defense is actually very good. Just in case anyone was wondering, the Flyers. Hey, I mentioned it, Freddie. If you missed my cold open, I said we're talking Phillies, we're talking Eagles, and yes, the Flyers won. I watched the first 45, 50 minutes of that Flyers game last night. I did. Travis Konecny, I think he had 2 goals. I didn't even know Sean Couturier was still a Flyer because he's been injured so much. I saw him skating on the ice last night. Like, good. Carter Hart looked good. Hey, I did watch the black and gold last night for about an hour, and it was fun. I haven't watched a hockey game in a while. Hey, how many games do I think the NLCS? I really got a deep dive at them on the Braves or on the Diamondbacks. I know obviously Zach Gallen's their best pitcher. I got to see how their offense really is clicking at this moment. With the break being till Monday, the first game, we get to set up our rotation game 1 and 2, Wheeler and Nola. Game 3, Ranger Suarez. Whether they go with a 4th pitcher for game 4 or go Wheeler on short rest, I don't know. But I mean, I feel confident the Phillies win the series. Whether we can wrap it up in 5 or 6, I don't know. I'd like to see it wrapped up in 5 as quickly as possible, but the Phillies win in either 5 or 6. That's my early prediction. I'll think about it more this weekend, and on Monday's show, well, we'll definitely talk about it. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing? Eagles win by 10. Saleh should have kept his mouth shut. He fired up the Eagles. Yeah, I mean his comments, and Kyle mentioned his comments a few minutes ago. He should have learned by the Braves. You do not fire up a Philadelphia sports team. Why say that publicly? Don't give any team in any sport a competitive edge or a motivational factor on top of what they're already using as motivation on a weekly basis. And 10 points, I think the Eagles definitely win by 10. They might win by more than 10. But I still don't see the Eagles scoring more than 24 to 27 points. Because A, the Jets defense is really good, and B, they're just going to run a very slow, methodical offense, the Eagles, this week, with a lot of short plays and small plays, and they're going to eat up the clock. Freddie's always here, man. Chatter. Phillies win in 6 over Zona. Phillies on a mission and pissed off from last year. Yeah, they're on a mission, Jonathan. They are. It's 5 or 6 for me, without thinking deeply, without really diving into what the Diamondbacks. I know they beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers are like the Braves playoff choke artists, as always. Is there a worse playoff pitcher? Is there a worse Hall of Fame level pitcher in the playoffs than Clayton Kershaw is with the Dodgers? I mean, what did he give up? 6 runs in the first inning of the last game? Kershaw sucks. So I don't know how much the Diamondbacks are good and how much of the Dodgers just stunk. But I'll deep dive it a little bit more this weekend and really think about it before I make it official. But it's either 5 or 6 for the Phillies. Flyers used to give Sabres hard time. There's always some good Flyers-Sabres matchups back in the past. Joe Douglas is the Jets GM. He has worked with Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore and Howie Roseman here. Talent executive, has the Jets loaded with talent, but they're not winning yet. Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be talking a different story about the Jets if Aaron Rodgers didn't get hurt. They might not be 2-3. They might be 3-2. They might be 4-1, something like that. There is talent on this Jets team. It's just Zach Wilson is their quarterback. And I gave out the numbers at the beginning of the show, mister. Zach Wilson has completed 70% of his passes the last 2 weeks. But he's the 30th ranked quarterback under pressure throwing the ball. 29%. And the Eagles are the 6th best pass rushing win rate team in the league. So we should be able to get pressure on Zach Wilson. It's going to come down to whether Carter plays or not. We get our full defensive line rotation out there. We should be in Zach Wilson's face all game long, putting pressure on him. It shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. And if that's the case, dude, I have 2 of my predictions here that I've got. 2 of my 4 predictions don't have the Jets scoring a single touchdown. Because that's how bad this Jets offense is with Zach Wilson. And I feel bad for Zach Wilson. I really do. You know, I've talked about it a million times on this show and other shows about quarterbacks being drafted out of position and forced into a situation where they're destined to fail. Zach Wilson is like the prime example of that. You know, the Jets got him, 2 or 3 overall? A bad organization at the time. No talent. Thrown right to the starting lineup. Benched and not benched and benched and not benched. You know, Zach Wilson's career was set up for failure before it even started. Zach Wilson needed to hold a clipboard for 2 years. They needed to get Aaron Rodgers his rookie year, Zach Wilson, and let Zach Wilson sit for 2 or 3 years before he even saw the field. Learn how to be a pro, learn how to be an NFL player. But no, you throw somebody like him right into the fire. You rattle his confidence. It's an epidemic in the NFL. You constantly see it. And that's why Caleb Williams, everyone talked about Caleb Williams. Somebody said going to the Giants earlier in the show. Like, he's already said, he might go back for his senior year of college if he doesn't like the situation that's going to draft him first overall. Jets got Garrett Wilson. They do. And I feel bad for Garrett Wilson. I had their stats up. Hold on. Let me see if I still got them up on the screen here. He's been targeted 43 times in 5 games. That's almost 9 targets a game. But he's only got 24 catches. That's because he's only got 11 and a half yards a catch. He's only got 2 touchdowns. Why? Because, you got a bad quarterback throwing on the ball. Tyler Conklin's their second leading receiver, their tight end. Alan Lazard, they bring him in for Aaron Rodgers. He's nothing. Randall Cobb still plays. He's only got 3 catches. I can't even believe they even run him out there. I mean, they do have Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall is a very capable running back. He's averaging almost 80 yards a game. But he hasn't really had that breakout game yet. So that would be my biggest concern, is getting pressure on Zach Wilson and stopping Bryce Hall. Dalvin Cook's washed, obviously. He's not getting anything going there. Gardner will get saucy. Look, Sauce Gardner Sauce Gardner might be the best player on the New York Jets football team. He is an elite cornerback. There's no doubt about it. He's an elite lockdown corner. And you got to think that he is going to be draped all over A.J. Brown this week, which just means that it leaves Devontae Smith wide open or in single coverage to have his breakout game. If Carter and Slay are out. If. And Sam, you know what's crazy? You know, I really do a lot of research all week long for these shows. And I always feel like I'm prepared to talk about any topic that comes up. But this Jalen Carter injury kind of popped up out of nowhere. And it just kind of like I think the Eagles kind of felt like let's just hope that it kind of sneaks under the radar with what's going on with the Philadelphia Phillies because they released no information. I've got zero information on why Jalen Carter missed practice. Nobody does. I haven't seen Chris Franklin, Ed Kratz, Martin Frank, any of the great beat reporters that cover the Eagles on a daily basis. None of them have said a thing on why, where this came from, where did the injury come from. He practiced earlier in the week. I don't get it. And it concerns me. It doesn't concern me to the level that I feel like we would lose the game. I just kind of feel like my stress level for the game would be a little higher if he's out. And Darius Slay, I've talked about it a bunch. Darius Slay being out, we've already seen Josh Joby, Goodrich, and Rick struggle so far this year. If Slay is out, who is the other cornerback outside of James Bradbury on the outside? It's a concern. It's why Howie's job of building this team is still not done. I wanted another secondary person brought in this week. So they had time to adjust before next week's Dolphins game. If Darius Slay misses time this week, whatever. It's the Jets. If Darius Slay misses time next week against Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and 500 other guys that can catch the football there in Miami, they just add the vending machine. Chase Claypool. Why did Tyreek Hill call Chase Claypool a vending machine? Like, I don't get that reference. Chase Claypool stinks, and he's a headache, and I'm glad the Eagles didn't go get him. This will be a great game. I'm ordering pizza. I don't know if the Eagles-Jets game is going to be good. I think it's going to be, hopefully, a blowout. Hopefully, an easy victory for the Eagles. But this Carter and Slay thing is definitely a concern. I think even with all that, them being still 7-point favorites, definitely tells me that this should be a stress-free Sunday for us. I mean, to an extent. We had a lot of stress last night with the Phillies. We're going to get prepped for Monday Phillies game against the Diamondbacks. The Eagles can easily just come out and just take care of business. Easy. Have we really had a fully stress-free game with the Eagles? I mean, even the Buccaneers game, I mean, it felt like it was closer than the score really was. Obviously, Week 1 Patriots was a close game. Vikings, it got closer than it needed to be. The Commanders, obviously, that was a close game. I guess the Bucs were a semi-stress-free game, but not enough. My prediction, 6 p.m. Sunday, I'll be looking into the TV and saying, welcome to the AFC, Mister. Yeah, by 6 o'clock, if the game's over, that's a good thing. Jets O-line is suspect. Eagles shut down Bryce. Yeah. I mean, this is short passes I expect from Zach. Philly going to have a problem with Miami. That's a game my anxiety rises. Yeah. Look, the first part here, the O-line is shaky. And with a shaky O-line, Zach Wilson's numbers, he's 29% completion percentage this year under pressure, under duress. That's 30th out of all starting quarterbacks in the NFL. That's not good, Jonathan. And that comes to that's how you win this game. You put pressure. But if you lose Darius Slay and Jalen Carter for the game, that makes getting pressure a little harder. That makes those short dump-off passes easier. So that being said, I really can't wait till the Eagles speak today. The Eagles put out information today, their final injury report for the week and stuff like that, to see what's really up with Jalen Carter. If I get a notification from the Eagles when they release their information and it says out next to Jalen Carter's name, I'm gonna be pissed. I really am. Because this is kind of just like, it's not like it to have this kind of information just kind of sneak up out of nowhere like this without any information given. But I think the rest of what you said here is very, very valid. You know, short passes. No, look, the Miami game, it's going to be tough to talk Miami next week. I won't lie, because the Phillies are going to be in the NLCS, and there's going to be a lot of NLCS talk on this show next week, obviously. But we will keep the conversation going, for sure. Darius Slay said on his podcast that the Meadowlands turf is terrible and injuries are bad. That's a fair point, Mister. And he didn't need to say it on his podcast for me to know that. We all know that the Meadowlands turf is one of the worst in football. There are a lot of injuries that happen. Um, that's why I want it to be a simple, slow, methodical offense from the Eagles. I don't even want Jalen Hurts putting himself at risk. I just want a slow, methodical game. Run the ball with with DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell. If we have 50, 55 plays on defense and that's it, that would be great. If we could score under 27 points and still win by double digits, that's what I want. Easy, simple. Hell, let's go up big and let's see Marcus Mariota get the fourth quarter. Like, that's what I want. There's too many freak things injury wise that happen at the Meadowlands, and I'm not excited for that part of it. Not at all. One of, like I said, if not the worst surfaces in the NFL. If Carr's out, our run D takes a hit as well. It's been reported as an ankle injury. Yeah, and I'm not sure just where it popped up. That's all. Like, when did he get hurt? Did he get hurt in the game? Did he get hurt in practice? Nobody knows. Who knows? But it is what it is. Look, Fletcher Cox, I mean, he was up there dancing with the Phillies last night in the locker room, so I'm assuming he's feeling better. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, Hopefully he's okay. Uh, Honestly, if Fletcher Cox is available to play, you got Milton Williams, you got Jordan Davis. Maybe it's okay to give Carter the benefit of the doubt and the day off. Maybe protect AJ knee. Yeah, protect everybody's knees, please. Please, please, please. That Meadowland take our AC. The Meadowland. I'm sure Mad Chatter's lost a few of his Buffalo Bills on that Meadowland turf, without a doubt. Yes, no Slayer Carter makes it difficult. Reddick's sweat should be impactful. Well, Reddick and Sweat's impactfulness comes from somebody like Jalen Carter, someone like Jordan Davis. Those guys in the middle drawing the double teams all the time. Jalen Carter, was it last week? Was he double teamed 65% of the snaps? Jordan Davis is like the number 2 most double team defensive lineman in the NFL, and he's only playing like 40% of the snaps. Like, those double teams that they command in the middle leave Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat single blocked on the outside. And there ain't no one person that can block Hassan Reddick. And we're seeing it now. His thumb's better. The cast is off, and he's got 3 sacks in the last 2 weeks now. So Hassan Reddick should feast. Hassan Reddick should be able to get after Zach Wilson without a shadow of a doubt. Hell, at this point, if Jalen Carter plays, I would have no problem predicting 2.5 over. If you set the line at over under 2.5 sacks for Hassan Reddick, I would consider betting the over. If Jalen Carter plays, that's the point. Jalen Carter's got to be out there for that to happen. But it all works in unison. Cornerbacks are better when the defensive line is getting pressure. When the cornerbacks are locked down, that gives the defensive lineman more time to get after the quarterback. It all works in unison. Transitioning. I do have a question for you. So Brandon Mann was promoted to the active roster. He's no longer on the practice squad, so he's our Braden man. He's now our punter for now. But there was an open roster spot, and that took the open roster spot. The Kobe Dean's practice window was activated this week. He practiced a decent amount this week. There is a chance that he's activated for this game. And if not, he gets activated next week for Miami. But we have a full roster. So unless somebody else goes on IR, which I guess you could put Justin Evans on IR or Sidney Brown on IR. They're not playing much or at all. Evans mainly. What happens for Nakobe Dean to get on this roster, to be activated? Somebody's got to get cut. Do we see the end of Rashad Penny's tenure in Philadelphia? I still think Rashad Penny does not stay on this team the full season. Is that who you cut? Who do you cut if you want to activate Nakobe Dean? And then it gets into the question, what do you do with Nakobe Dean and Nicholas Morrow? and Zach Cunningham to an extent. You got to put Nakobe Dean back out there. Nakobe Dean is the quote unquote future of this team at linebacker. Nakobe Dean has been groomed through his first year and change to be the linebacker of this team and the leader of this defense for the next 5 to 10 years. We haven't seen anything that proves or backs that up yet, but Nakobe Dean is sort of that guy and supposed to be that guy. The flip side of the equation, Nicholas Morrow has played really, really above average linebacker and overachieved over expectations massively while Nakobe Dean's out. So what do? How do you figure this out? We're going to answer that question in a minute here. You're watching Trending in the AM. It's 9 a.m. We got 30 minutes left in the show. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am Phil Stiefel. Follow me on all social media platforms at Bearded Knowledge. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. That's where you can find me. We got 15 likes on YouTube, 5 on Facebook. Not good enough. It is free if you're watching this show to hit the like button. It is free to hit that share button. It is free to click subscribe. Free to do it all. So do me that favor. Help me out. Help grow the algorithm and get this show in front of more people. The more people that watch, the easier it is for me to do 90 minutes a day now because it seems like that's what we're doing. We started as an hour show, 8:30 to 9:30. Then we started doing it. We trickled in a couple 15-minute extras, starting at 8:15. Then it just became official, 8:15 every day. Now, because of you, all of you, we're at 90 minutes now every day. To stay that way or to get it longer, I need more likes, I need more shares, I need more people, more eyes on this show every single day. So keep that going. Again, Training the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. It's not his gas pedal ankle, is it? Oh my God, that's a really inappropriate comment. Randall Cobb, Marcel Hardman, Alan Lazard, not very good wide receivers there with the Jets, not at all. Definitely. Outside of Garrett Wilson, I don't worry at all about the wide receivers of the Jets. Tyler Conklin, that doesn't do anything for me. It's really Garrett Wilson and Bryce Hall. That's all that you have to stop on this Jets offense. All right. So, inappropriate Fry. It's been an inappropriate week or so on this show. There have been a lot of inappropriate. Where's K1 with the inappropriate comments today? But anyway, back to Nakobe Dean. So Nakobe Dean's practice window was activated. He could be activated for the game, but to do that, you got to cut somebody or put somebody on IR. It could be, yeah. Is today the day? We got a $1.99 super chat from my man Adam. I'll pop that back up there. It says it right there. Never mind. I can't pop it back up. But I greatly appreciate Adam's $1.99 super chat. You do know when Eric types it in, I'm not actually getting $500, right, man, chatter? I hope you know that a comment does not mean that he did it. Just so you know. And I wouldn't expect Eric to do that anyway. But back to Nakobe Dean. Do you activate him? And what do you do when you activate him, whether it's this week or next week? Look, we just talked about the turf at the Meadowlands and how bad it is and how many people get hurt on it. Nakobe Dean's been injured. I don't know if this would be the week to activate him, although you do want him getting some reps before next week against that Dolphins vaunted offense. So it's a really tough decision. And it's put Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni in a really tough spot on what to do. To get him the experience, and then how to handle the snap count between him and Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham to extent. Because I guess you can hypothetically, move one of those guys outside and put Zach Cunningham on the bench. But Zach Cunningham has been hurt too. What are you reading my shirt? Yeah, it's just a brand of CBD that I use. That's all. I'm not advertising for them, but I do use their products. I want Dean brought back slowly. Yeah. So how do you do that? Do you take snaps away from Nicholas Morrow? Do you even activate him this week in a week when we've just discussed how awful the turf is in Northern Jersey there in East Rutherford? Do you wait till next week? And who do you cut if you're not putting Justin Evans on IR? There's some tough decisions to be made with Nakobe Dean at this point. Now, I'm not sure what you do, how you go about it, but I know what it means, dude. I know what it means. Seriously. Um, it's a tough decision how to handle this Nakobe Dean. Because again, Nakobe Dean hasn't done anything to prove himself in the NFL yet. I mean, he was a special teamers last year and he's been hurt this year, even in camp. So what you do, I don't know. I'm kinda at a loss for ideas on how you manage this Nakobe Dean situation. I do still say that if you do not cut or if you do not IR somebody, that Rashad Penny will get cut. What's the point of having him on the roster if he hasn't touched the ball or the field yet this year? But um, yeah, I see your comment coming in there. It hasn't come up on my screen yet. There it is. They should put Justin Evans on IR. Look, I mean, Justin Evans has lived on IR most of his career. I said that when we brought him in. I said that when he made the team over Kayvon Wallace, that I wasn't a fan of the idea because the guy lives on IR. And he hasn't played what now, like 3 weeks now. I would definitely be putting him on IR. Even if Nakobe Dean isn't activated, I'd be putting Justin Evans on IR anyway, just so I could sign another safety. The Eagles are severely thin at safety, and it still concerns me. And the fact that Harry Roseman hasn't done anything about it severely concerns me. They don't call me money bags for nothing. Yeah, I think he really thinks that you give me $500 like every single day. I wish you did. Did you hit the? Do you live in California? Did you hit the Powerball? You can spend some of that Powerball on me. I played on AstroTurf in college against St. John's University. It sucks. Feels like road rash. Well, I got a piece of the vet turf sitting back here. I occasionally just hit it, and it's rock hard. Like it's as hard as this wood desk here. Like I don't know how the league still allows. Like how does in all sports? How is it not just mandatory that there's real fresh grass at every single stadium across every sport? There's no reason for fake turf anywhere, artificial turf anywhere. And there's two. We are so smart now from where we were 20 years ago on head injuries and so many other things. Yet we're still dumb enough to let there be artificial turf in fields. I mean, it's a cheap way to go. It's easier to maintain, et cetera, et cetera. But man, we're so concerned about player safety, but yet we still allow fields like East Rutherford at the Meadowlands to be a place where not just one football team plays, but two football teams play. Surprise! It's insane. Panthers versus Dolphins, the Jeremy Chin game. I don't know. Do they play each other this week? I don't even know. Let's go down the NFL schedule. I haven't even looked at the schedule this week. 9-10. So we got a few minutes left in the show. Let me take a quick look at the nope, that's the Eagles score schedule. All right, NFL score. All right, let's look down this list. What do we got this week? We got Ravens at the Titans. Ravens are 4-point favorites on the road. Was that a London game? Where are they playing? Tottenham, London. Oh, Ravens Titans in London. 4-point Ravens fan favorite. Yeah, I'll give the Ravens the win there. Ravens cover. I'm going to write these down. I've been really bad at this year, but I'm going to do it. Atlanta's a 2.5-point favorite at home against the Commies. Yeah, I'm going to go Falcons cover. They're terrible, the Commies. So yeah. Bears are 3-point dogs to the Vikings at home. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to take the Bears +3 in that one. I don't know who wins that game, but I think we go there. Seahawks, Bengals. Bengals are 2.5-point favorites. Bengals are going to smoke Seahawks. Bengals are back. I'm just going to tell you that. They're going to get on a winning way here. They are back. Titans upset the Ravens. That's tough. I mean, it's hard to judge on any of those teams when they're going to London outside of the Jaguars on how they're going to respond to that. Um, so I don't know. 49ers going to Cleveland. 49ers are 9.5-point favorites. 49ers cover, especially with Deshaun Watson's shoulder injury. It might be whoever the guy's name is as their rookie for their quarterback. Not going to be it's going to be a blowout in Cleveland. Panthers, Dolphins. Dolphins are 13.5-point favorites. Wow, that's a big line. I'm going to say Panthers cover. Panthers plus 13.5, but Dolphins win. Jaguars, Colts in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 4-point favorite. Yeah, I think Jacksonville could beat the Colts at home and cover. I think they could do that. Um, let's see here. What else do we got? We got Saints, Titans, or Saints, Texans in Houston. Saints are the favorite. I don't know. I'll say the Saints cover. Texans are playing well, but they're not a good team yet. Then you got Raiders at home against the Patriots. Raiders are favorite. Again, that's a game that could just end 0-0, and I don't even need to. I don't even want to watch that. Who would watch the Raiders play the Patriots? I mean, really. I guess I'm gonna go just for shits and giggles. Patriots outright. Why not? Cardinals at the Rams. Rams are 7-point favorites. I'll say Cardinals cover, but the Rams win that game. Obviously, the Eagles prediction will happen shortly here. Lions, Bucks. Lions are 3-point favorites. This is the coming out party for the Lions. Lions -3. I'm taking that for sure. And then Sunday Night Football, Giants at the Bills. Bills are the biggest favorite of the week at 14.5. Uh, Bills cover. Yeah. Bills win like 40-20 against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Complete and total debacle. Man, I rolled through that really, really fast there. Bengals are back. Phil, back to that. I said that they. I agree. I said it after they won. Bengals are back. Joe Burrow looked good. Jamar Chase, him back on the same page, for sure. Who would watch the Broncos? Swifties watched the Broncos last night just to see a picture of Taylor Swift in the crowd. That's the only people that watched that game last night, without a doubt. Look, there's some really bad football games on the schedule. Even this Eagles Jets game, it's not a great matchup. This is not a week of intriguing matchups across the NFL. Thank God the Phillies have kind of entertained us because this is a bad, bad week of football. And, all eyes are on the NFL. I mean, Colts, Jags, Saints, Texans, Patriots, Raiders, 49ers, Browns. Like, got so many 1-4 teams facing off against each other. So many bad, bad matchups this week across the NFL. Eagles Jets is not a fire matchup. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, sure, it'd be a great matchup. But right now, with Zach Wilson, unless half the team just sits out because they're injured, I mean, this is not a close football game. I don't see how it is. I just don't. I don't see how this could be an easy game. Easy money for the 7 points. Yeah, I mean, I think the 7-point line's easy money. I think you definitely bet that. Being it's in New Jersey, um, that means that they feel on a neutral field that the Eagles are a 10-point favorite or better team. The Eagles should win this game hands down, handily. I just don't know who's playing, who's not. So I'm going to make cautious predictions here on this show, and I'm going to make a lot of predictions on this game here in a minute. How I feel the game theory of this game will play out, but it all depends on who plays and who doesn't. Does Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, Jacoby Dean, Justin Evans, who plays and who doesn't? And again, we really didn't spend much time on it, but I'm going to bring it up again. The Robert Saleh calling out to give 11 kisses to Jalen Hurts, and then we talking about this East Rutherford, New Jersey turf. This cannot be a place where Jalen Hurts gets hurt either. We got to protect Jalen Hurts this week. We do. We got to make sure he doesn't take any unnecessary hits. We got to make sure he's not out there trying to, I think about that play where he took that hard hit last week on that big first down run. How his ankle or knee didn't get blown out? No idea. But I fear a play like that happening on this turf in East Rutherford. Like, if that exact play happens and he plants his ankle and it rolls a little bit, it shatters into 1,000 pieces on this turf. If he plants his knee the wrong way on this turf and it could just buckle, we've got to have a game plan to protect Jalen Hurts at all costs this week. Short passes, quick passes, a lot of running with DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell. Hell, mix in Rashad Penny. Whatever you got to do. You got to protect your stars this week on this turf. Will this be the game to get Devontae back? Absolutely, Eric. I strongly believe Sauce Gardner, who I put as one of the 2 or 3 best cornerbacks in football, without a shadow of a doubt, will be draped all over A.J. Brown. All over him. And without looking at the Jets roster, I couldn't name who their other cornerback is. So that tells me Devontae Smith will have the opportunity to break out big time. Big time this week. Hell, Quez Watkins could too. I saw Quez comment here coming in. Scapegoat Quez, need a tutty. Yeah, like this could be the game for Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins to break out. Um, I hope that Jalen Hurts isn't running the ball a lot, which means running backs get involved, and that means your wide receivers. If Sauce Gardner is blanketing AJ Brown, that leaves Devontae Smith wide open. They've got good linebackers on the Jets defense, so Dallas Goedert I could see being held in check to an extent. But Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins. Hell, actually, this might be a game to put a Quez Watkins anytime TD bet in play. They've been hyping him up. He's healthy. I don't know. Quez Watkins anytime TD. Anybody want to tally that bet with me? Interesting. Maybe. I gotta look at what the odds are on that one in a little bit after the show, but maybe. Maybe that's the way I go. I don't know. All right. So my game theory, how this game plays out. Look, it's going to be a game where the Eagles dominate the time of possession. They have to. A lot of runs, a lot of quick passes. They do. They need if Jalen Carter and Darius Slay are playing, I find it very hard to believe the Jets can even score a touchdown against this team. They're going to score. They're going to kick some field goals, but I find it very, very hard to believe the Jets team could score a touchdown against this Eagles defense. The only way, if everybody plays, the only way I see a touchdown scored by the Jets is in one of those situations where Breece Hall breaks a tackle and runs for like 70 yards, or a missed tackle and Garrett Wilson has like 60 yards of yak and gets on a big play. That's the only way I see that kind of thing happening. Um, I like the idea, get the three-headed monster established. Yeah, I think that's how you do it this week. Did I see the Eagles act? Yeah, Braden Mann is now part of the active roster, so they will no longer be calling him up from the practice squad. But that used up their last free roster spot. So if they activate Nakobe Dean, they got to cut somebody or put somebody on IR. So there's that's got to be thought about. Keith saying 33-17, easy peasy. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If everybody plays Carter Slay, I find it very hard to believe that the Jets can score 17 on them. I mean, you look at what the Jets have scored this year. Let me go back to that because I had that screen up. I don't have it up anymore. Give me a second. The Jets have scored. They scored 22 week 1, 10 week 2, 10 week 3, 20 and 21 the last 2 weeks. So good defenses like the Patriots, held them in check. I find it very hard to see them scoring 17 points against us. I really do. And if the plan works according to the way I think it should, I don't think there'll be enough minutes left in the game for the Eagles to get to 33. I think they're going to run a very slow, methodical defense. So, that's the way I see it playing out. Slow and methodical. I've written down 4 prediction scores, and I've got 31 as 31-17 is the biggest scoring game I've got. But all the other ones that I've got written down here all predict the under, which the over-under is set at 41. 33-17 is what, 50 points? The over-under is not that often. So that's why I find it very hard to see a 33-17 score. Jets defense will need to score and special teams. I saw something the other day. We haven't talked about special teams enough. We've given Jake Elliott some credit on this show for being such a great kicker. But the coverage teams of the Eagles and the return teams of the Eagles have been massively better this year. I'm not sure why, because it's basically the same, but they've been better. I think I saw that they're ranked 6th or 7th in coverage on punts and kicks, something like that. So they're one of the better special teams. I think they're the top. They're a top 10 overall special teams unit this year, which is surprising because they were god awful last year. Valentine's Day came early for Wilson. Fletcher Cox promises 11 kisses. With the 11 kiss comment, can the Eagles get 11 sacks on Zach Wilson on Sunday? That would be hilarious, would it not? 33-9. That would hit the over as well. But I could see 33-9 easier than 33-17. It's a weird score, 33-9, but I could buy that. I still don't think the Eagles could score 33 points because I don't think they're going to be running big plays. They're a big play offense, but AJ Brown's part of that, and he's going to get shut down. He's going to be in lockdown mode with Sauce Gardner. Look, I'm going to give you my 4 predictions that I've written down here. All right, 31-17 is my high scoring prediction. Okay. That's the highest I got as one of my 4 ideas. 27-10 is my next highest idea. And that includes the Jets scoring a touchdown. But the 2 scores I keep going back to that I wrote down are 24-9 and the first score I wrote down, which was 24-3. I can see the Eagles winning this game 24-3. I really can. I think I'm leaning towards the 27-10 as my final prediction, but 24-3 is a score that just keeps sticking in my head of how this game's going to play out. Defense dominates. Eagles offense just runs the ball and milks the clock and gets a few touchdowns. I'm really, really firmly stuck on that 24-3 score. Um, but I think we all agree with Keith that it will be easy peasy. Defense spots us a pick 6 and 3 fumbles. Um, man, I want 11 kisses on Zach Wilson, even if it's 11 knockdowns, not all sacks. 27-10 doesn't that number just sound and feel, Jonathan, right? Like it's a score that, maybe they get lucky on one drive, maybe someone busts a touchdown for the Jets, like a long touchdown, but then we just dominate the rest of the game. And the again, the over under at 41 makes me think that the bookies want this to be an under. They want that the bookies putting 41 as the over under. They're just tempting you to bet the over. And my man Josh Gamble used to always say, "Life's too short to bet the under." And there's a lot of gamblers, degenerates that believe that actually. And the over under 41 is just screaming, "Bet the over." I just don't see it. I don't see it this week. Um, you ain't getting 30. Exactly. That's why 3 of my 4 score predictions are under 30. I agree with you on that. So you're saying I should sit AJ Brown? Nico Collins. I mean, Eric, that would be a bold move, my man. That would be a real, real bold move. That would be next level thinking in fantasy football right there. Sauce Gardner's going to lock down AJ Brown, so you're going to bench one of, if not the best wide receiver in football this year, fantasy speaking wise. Look, I'm not saying AJ Brown's going to have a bad game. I'm just not expecting 9 catches and 145 yards. Is Nico Collins going to get more than AJ Brown receiving yards? Maybe, maybe not. That'd be a bold. If you're 5-0 or something like that in fantasy football, you could take the risk. But if you're a Midland team, man, I don't know how you do that, but that's hilarious. So I'm going to keep our league, the Philadelphia Sports Network, and make sure you check out the Philadelphia Sports Network website, phillysportsnetwork.com. Always great articles covering all the sports and gambling. There's a 14-team fantasy football league amongst all of us at Philadelphia Sports Network, and it's a keeper league. You get 2 keepers, and I made a big bold trade last night, and I with my man Tim Sullivan, and it's a big trade, and I gave up some future draft picks. So Dak Prescott's my quarterback. My running backs are really, really weak. So I traded Dak Prescott for Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Mixon. I did give up a second-round draft pick for next year. Tua will count as one of my keepers, and he'll count as my 6th-round pick next year. So I gave up Dak and a second-round pick for Tua and Joe Mixon, basically. There are some 11th and 12th-round picks mixed in there as well. But basically, Tua and Mixon for Dak Prescott and next year's second-round pick. And I won't have to use my 6th-round pick next year because that's where Tua will fall. I think I got a good deal there. I really do like it. I wonder what everybody else thinks about that. Hurts is one of the top 4 quarterbacks. Allen is wrecked by the Jets' D. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Eagles win 19-60. Chiefs won 19-8. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Jonathan, I could see it being a look. If Carter and Slay don't play, this is going to be the weather's going to be sloppy. Another thing that we're not taking into account, it's going to be a sloppy weekend all over the East Coast, the Northeast. Rain, wind, cold weather. There's a chance this is a low scoring game. 19-8, 19-17. I hope it's not stressful like that and close by 3 points. But I could see a 17-7, 17-3, 21-10. It's going to be hard to score a lot of points in East Rutherford this week. When you root, you can have mad chatter spite. Will I eat crow? I like the Eagles 27-10. I keep going back to that as well. It's either 24-3 or 27-10. But don't forget about the weather as well. The weather is going to be interesting this weekend, to say the least. 4-1, thanks to the Bears last week. There's 3 guys at 4-1, and I'm playing the other one. Yeah. Um. Yeah. There's 3 guys 4-1. I'm playing. Yeah. You can't bench AJ Brown. It might come back to bite you in the ass, but you can't bench AJ Brown. And I don't think you really meant that. I hope you didn't mean that. The Bears. Dick guy. Yeah. Uh, Fantastic. Anyway, we got final 5 minutes here. We got to start the wrap up process of this show. Again, I got to make my final prediction. I'm going to stick with the 27-10 prediction. I love my 24-3 idea. I love a 17-10 idea. But 27-10 is where I'm going to lean. But what I'm going to do with this prediction, this is why I always tell everybody to follow me on all platforms. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever. If I find out that Jalen Carter and or Darius Slay are not playing, I am leaving myself open to make a change to my prediction. No bets are being made till I know this for sure. If they don't play, I give myself the opportunity to say maybe 27-17. Maybe they get 2 touchdowns without those 2 big pieces on defense. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm leaving my predictions open-ended this week because of the unknown with these injuries. The Bears were good in 85, Cowboys 92, but Bears fans don't act like they just won the Super Bowl. That's a hilarious comment right there, actually. That is really a great comment. Man, Chatter, occasionally you get one right. Now, we're going to leave this up on the screen here. I love it. I mean, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's a great comment, man, Chatter. But I see that happen. Look, I want to close the show. No Discord. I meant to set up the Slack channel last night. Didn't get a time to do it. I will this weekend work on a Slack channel. Not doing a Discord. I'm not downloading another app for my phone. I have a Slack app. It's a conversation app. I will make a Slack channel for Trending in the AM, and we can all join it. I'll put the link in the show, and you can all join it. Okay. Broken clock right twice a day. That's right. And you were right that time. I love it. It's a great comment. Look, I want to close the show bringing up the Phillies one more time and how great it is that the Phillies are back in the NLCS 2 years in a row. How great this Philadelphia Phillies team, how great Bryce Harper is. Bryce Harper possibly already, even without a World Series ring, the greatest free agent signing in Philadelphia history, like without a shadow of a doubt. Bryce Harper already on my Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia, all sports, Philadelphia athletes in my lifetime. I'm going to say it. My Mount Rushmore, Bryce Harper, Jason Kelsey, Allen Iverson, and already Jalen Hurts. I'm just going to say it. That is my Mount Rushmore of athletes in my lifetime. Nobody gets Philadelphia better than those 4 guys. Allen Iverson was revolutionary, but the other 3 are current players, and they just get Philadelphia so well, and they do things the right way. And I still remember where I was. I was on a cruise on vacation when the Phillies signed Bryce Harper. We were in port. I was sitting by the pool on the cruise ship, and I was checking my phone, and I saw the breaking news, and I stood up and screamed. And as soon as I did that, I heard someone scream on the other side of the deck, and I ran across the deck. They were wearing a Philly shirt. I was wearing a Philly shirt, and we started cheering. Total stranger. And right next to us was the guy wearing a Washington Nationals shirt, and we just looked at him, and he just put his head down and sulked. I love it. Love it. Bryce Harper, one of the greatest free agent signings in Philadelphia sports history, without a doubt. Just one to like in your face, Mister or Go Phillies. It's kind of Slack is kind of like Discord. Yeah, for sure. Atwell or Collins. I need last wide receiver to start. Collins plays the Saints. Who's Atwell? But what do the Rams play? We already did the Rams game. I predicted the Rams to win, didn't I? Yeah, I'd probably go Atwell. Um, Probably. I don't have the NFL schedule up on my screen anymore. Arizona. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to go Atwell over Collins, without a doubt. Collins, there's just too much unknown. Nico Collins is either going to have he's like a 22-point game or a 2-point game. There's no in between. Atwell, you're going to get more consistency from him, in my opinion. In your face. That's right. In your face. Look, again, it's 9:30. I'm going to end the show, hyping up this Phillies team. I can't wait for Monday. Can't wait to make my predictions on Monday. Monday, we're going to be doing a Victory Monday Eagles show and an NLCS preview show. I can't wait. But two personal things I got to say. Shout out to my brother again, Chachi. I doubt he's watching, but if he is, happy 40th birthday, my brother. Great to see that. And shout out to Jeannie P. A great family friend passed away yesterday. And it really upset me a lot. So everybody have a great day on that note. To Jeannie, to my brother. My Mount Rushmore's Harper, Iverson, Howie, and her. Putting Howie on there. I love it. I love it. Howie Roseman for sure. We're going to wrap it up right there. Everybody have a great Friday, a great Eagles victory weekend. Celebrate Red October just a little bit more, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Be safe, be well. And yeah, let's dance on our own this weekend, guys. I wish I could play the dancing on my own song to play us off, but I can't. But yeah, everybody have a great weekend. Ring the bell. Go Birds. We'll talk to you all Monday.